Christmas. Merry Christmas. Um, so I think to start, I'll just let you guys know that I haven't even been feeling too well, and probably today's session might not be as long as usual. But uh, is there anybody here that this is their first time joining this? Just so I'm sure.
This is my first time.
This
Oh,
is my first time.
that's great. That's great. So, oh, that's great. We have a number of first timers here. So usually what we do here is in the beginning I'll talk about general things that I'm either thinking of or going through at the moment, and then I give space for people to ask questions. So recently I made a video about the PIA, that's the Petroleum Industry Act 2021. I have also been taking my time to take a look at the implications of that and what it means for the industry. I've been working in oil and gas for about 3 years. So that's since 2022, and the act came into play 2021. So all of my experience has been with the new act. But now I'm trying to take my time to really understand what it means, because say what you want about the current administration of the country, we are experiencing a time where the oil and gas industry is ramping up, right? There's a lot of more production, a lot of investment, and the environment is changing. So it used to be heavily controlled by international oil companies, but recently a lot of investment has been going into local producing companies. I saw yesterday that Airs Energy, that's Tony Elumelu's energy company, they got an investment from, is it Afrimex Bank? Not investment, like a line of credit, something like that, for about $750 million. That's the largest, will I say, agreements or engagements with a look, or one of the largest with a local producing company in a while. So that just gives you an idea of the appetite of what's going on in the industry. So me personally, I've been taking my time to look at the PIA and what it means. That's why that's not why I talked about Seplat's moving their their OMLs into the PIA. And so I also want to take my time to understand the implications. And maybe I'll do a video series about that. And I don't know if anyone here actually commented PIA or DM PIA. I got the link. I actually went to check it out. The document's about 256 pages. It's long. But I still recommend reading it. I have started reading it. And a summary of what is in there is that NMPC became a limited company, meaning that it became for profit. So their goal is to produce as much oil as possible. Then DPR, the Department of Petroleum Resources, was broken down into NEPRC. So NEPRC and NMDPRA. So NEPRC is for upstream, NMDPRA is for midstream and downstream. Just to really segregate how investment and how regulations work in each of these spaces. And then it talks about how the companies interact with the host communities and human host community development, human capacity development, to ensure that the people of Nigeria benefit from having the resource of oil in the country. The host communities as well enjoy the benefits of having oil in their community. Then it also goes into how taxes are set up and how profit is shared. So I don't know how factual this is, but I know that to a large extent, NMPC is, in fact, not to a large extent. The first thing in the documents, if you read it, is that all of the oil in Nigeria is owned by the federal government. All of the oil. So if you take a look at how the oil companies are set up, a lot of times NMPC is a major stakeholder of whatever is going on with the oil companies. I might be right or wrong to say that all of them, but a large number of them have NMPC as a stakeholder. So that's also another good thing to understand, because profit oil taxes need to, because at the end of the day, the government wants to produce oil to help its own revenue. And then it contracts, or it allows, or it gives lease access to producers to more or less do it as a partnership, right? And then produce the oil. So the leasers, the producers take their own oil, and then NNPC takes their own share and then uses it for what they want to do. What else is captured there? I can't remember for now, but I think it's just really interesting. It's really interesting. It goes into how the oil and gas industry is set up and what young people need. Well, it doesn't say what young people need to know, but as a young person, if you read it and you start to have conversations with people, you start to decide, where do I want to more or less specialize in? Do I want to be upstream, midstream, downstream? Do I want to be more technical, or do I want to be commercial? And with the new acts, with the PIA, you start to see that there's a lot of emphasis on regulation, compliance, commerciality. So that tells you that the industry is not just for technical people. It's not just for the engineers. And I keep saying that. I'm an engineer. I've never practiced engineering. I'm in a commercial role, supply chain. But I think another thing I also want to mention, I've noticed that people that have been watching my videos and maybe interacting with me and trying to follow along with the journey have also, in a way, tried to, I don't want to say copy me, but use me as inspiration, and then say that they are interested in supply chain management. I think it would be good for anyone here that has that as an interest to really consider what supply chain management means. Me, for example, I want to I want to pivot in the near future to business economics, for example. So everybody needs to consider what is important for them. I always talk about IDPs. I don't know if everyone here has heard me talk about an IDP, but an IDP is an individual development plan. So it is a plan for what you want to do. You look at your current strengths, you look at your weaknesses or areas for development, not necessarily weaknesses. So that would be both technical and soft skills. Technical skills are your technical abilities. So if you're an engineer, your understanding of engineering principles. If you're an accountant, your understanding of accounting processes. Then for soft skills, your communication. I say this over and over again, and since there are new people on the call, I'll say this. Your technical skills are the foundation. So your foundation needs to be strong. You need to be able to deliver good work. You need to be able to be excellent in what you do, be disciplined, always do good work. But a foundation is useless unless you put a building on top of it. And the blocks that you use to make the building would be your soft skills. So your soft skills are your soft skills are the blocks that you would use to build up. And as much as you develop your soft skills, that is what will determine how far you can go in your career. Because let me give you an example. And I can use my company, at least what I'm seeing, and I can tell you that this is how it is throughout the industry, and in regulators, in the national oil companies, in the government even. You get to a certain point where your job moves from whatever it is you were hired for into stakeholder management, into full-time soft skills. No more technical. You would not, even if you're an engineering manager, you are not doing a lot of engineering work. Your job becomes, who can you call to solve a problem? How can you bring people together to work? So how can you bring the technical people that will do the technical work to work together? How can you motivate them? How can you ensure that they do whatever it is they're supposed to do? So you wouldn't want to start from You wouldn't want to start from then to build your soft skills. You start from now. I'll use myself as an example. I joined Toastmasters to learn public speaking because I knew that eventually I want to be the kind of person that can speak in public. I'm not going to wait till I get that opportunity because I never know when the opportunity would come. And an opportunity actually came in November when I was supposed to present something to my whole company, thousands of people, right? And because I had that practice, I was able to do it. Same thing that I'm doing with making these videos online and trying to build a personal brand, or at least a connection, or at least an image in front of people, so that when the time comes that I need to have some influence or I need to go to the next step in my career, my name is already out there somewhere. That's how I think about things like this. So back to the IDP. I, for example, want to become a business economist. So this is my next step, my next goal. And so what are the things that I need to do or need to consider on that path? I need to surround myself with things related to business economics, people related to business economics. If you watched, I think one of the videos I posted recently, I said that if you want to be successful in the industry, you need to ask the right questions. You need to be able to understand that there are things that you need to do, things that you need to tell yourself. Yeah, let me show you guys this. So, if you want to be able to spot opportunities, you need to ask the right questions. And asking the right questions means, because if you don't know something, you don't know something, and that's the truth. And even before having the right questions, you need to have the right mindset. I said in one of my videos, there are jobs that pay up to 150 million naira per annum in the oil and gas industry to entry level people that are just done with school, no work experience. Well, you need to have some work experience, but the idea is little to none, right? And people don't believe. Tell me how you can, for example, be the person that will earn that kind of money if you don't even believe in the first place. So mindset. So after you have the right mindset and you believe, okay, fine, those roles exist. The next thing is, how do I get there? That's a question. How do I get there? What do I need to do? Where do I need to be? For me, that I want to become a business economist because I want to improve my understanding of the economics of the oil and gas industry. What are the things that I need to know? What are the things that I need to understand? When you start picking up those questions, the next thing is that you start looking for the people that you can ask those questions that can give you the right answers. That's where networking comes in. You start to network, you start to ask, you start to look around. If it's people in your immediate environment, you ask them, I see that you have this experience. I want to learn from you. And obviously, all the people on this call are here because they want to learn something from me. And eventually, I want to, because I don't know everything. Eventually, I want to bring people onto this platform that know even more than me so that I can learn, because I don't know everything. But when you find out this answer, when you find out the right people, and you ask them the questions and they give you the answers, the next thing that happens is that you see things that you're not sure about or you don't understand, the unknown. The unknown could be, like I just mentioned, IDP. What is an IDP? You've never known what an IDP is, but you're willing. So that's the willingness now. The willingness to go into the unknown. You build your IDP. You ask yourself, what are my technical skills? What are my soft skills? These are now questions, right? You're coming back to questions again. These are questions. What are my technical skills, soft skills? What do I want to achieve? And I think that's the most important question. What do I want to be? Because take me, for example. There are people that would be in my position and say they're okay where they are and they want to. So you move around this and it becomes your circle of development. That's how it works. So for example, me, I was saying I want to become a business economist. What that means is I need to surround myself with the people that I can ask the right questions, people that are in economics. Because somebody that has never experienced something before is a very bad example of who you should be asking a question. So for example, if you want to start a business, you shouldn't be taking advice from, if you want to start a business and even your parents, there are people that, like your mom, your dad, there are people that have never gone into business before. They're the worst people to give you advice. They don't know they don't know the right thing to do. Another example is if you want to start making content and you ask people around you what you think you should do, and they've never made videos before, they will give you the wrong advice. That might seem like good advice. For example, they'll tell you, okay, start making videos and send the videos to your family and friends to help you, to support you, to like your videos. That's the worst advice that you can get. But it sounds like good advice from somebody that doesn't know. Or somebody will tell you, if you want to make videos, buy all the lights that you need, buy the microphone, you need this, you need a fancy camera. That's bad advice. They only tell you that because that's what they think is right. And it might sound right to you. If you ask somebody that has been making videos, they will tell you that all you need to do is set your phone beside a window and make your first video and then plan to improve over time. They will tell you that the person that will support you more, will be a stranger online rather than your family. Because your family is not your target audience. And if you understand how the algorithm works, for example, you know that your family and friends that are not really interested, that will not watch your video to the end, for example, will actually kill your engagement. That's advice from me, who is somebody that has been making videos for at least some time. So that's an example of finding the right people to give you the advice. Look for somebody that's done what you want to do. If what you want to do is get into the oil and gas industry through the graduate trainee route, then you need to ask. Then you need to be asking the right people the right questions. All right, so I think I'll stop there for now, and I'll give an opportunity for people to ask questions. I think if there's more to say, I will say, but I want to make this more interactive so that it's not just me talking, right? So please, if you guys have any questions, you can ask. And I think before I go into the question and answer stage, is there anyone that is considering or thinking about what they want to do for 2026, like how they plan? Because this is the new year, right? This will be the last call for the year. So is there anyone that's thinking of or that has any major plans for 2026? I want to start the Q&A from there, if that's okay with you guys, before you go into your own specific questions. It's an open floor, please. If you guys don't talk, I won't talk. Yes, some Kenechuku, if I got that right.
Hi, good morning. I don't know if everybody can hear me.
Yes, we can. Good morning.
So, you asked if anybody has like major plans for 2026. So, I don't know if I would call mine major plans, but like I'm trying to, because I just graduated from UNN, from the Department of Mechanical Engineering. So I haven't done my NYSC yet, but like most graduate training programs, usually you have to have completed your NYSC. So I wanted to, like, I've been doing a lot of research on if it's possible to, like, let's say, get a PPA in, like, in the industry, but so far so good. It's not possible. And also, even the graduate trainee, like, because, like, I've watched a couple of your videos, and your CV has to have, like, a couple of skills. My IT, where I did my IT, like my industrial training, has nothing to do with oil and gas. I worked at the airport, so it's not really related. And I just feel like I don't have a lot of experience. I'm trying to build towards that. Someone told me to get, like, HSC certification. But I'm just not sure how to navigate the whole thing and how to get ready. I started reading the PIA document you sent. I was confused at some point, so I dropped it. But, like, I'm just trying to navigate the, like, how to break into the industry as a fresh graduate. You understand? I also don't know what I want to do yet, but I'm sure it's like a technical thing. I want to be very hands-on. Do you understand? I'm just not sure how to do it without experience, because nobody. If I try to build a CV, there's nothing on my CV. You understand? So that's it. Basically, my question is, how do I break into the industry as a fresh graduate?
Okay. I'll answer your questions. So the first thing I would say is, for NYSC, the reason why the top companies don't take, or at least this is my own understanding, NYSC is something that can take you, that's legally, and oil companies, they are very big on compliance and regulations. So legally, NYSC can take you away from them to somewhere else. And oil companies, especially the people that they take on directly, because if you're a contract staff, you're not working for the oil company, you're working for a contractor company that's providing manpower. So NYSC is something that can take you away for a year to a different state, post you to a different place. So imagine you were working with them, or imagine something that takes you away from where you're supposed to be working. Their investments will be, well, I don't want to say lost, but they won't get a return on their investment. So they prefer people who have already completed NYSC, and I think it's even part of like statutory law or something like that. But there are some companies that will take people up as NYSC, so more of the servicing companies. The truth is, anybody that wants to take up NYSC is searching for cheap labor, and there's nothing wrong with that. You can cold email servicing companies, you can check LinkedIn and look for companies that, but the thing is, before thinking of where you can work or what you can do or who can hire you, think of what you can offer somebody. Now, you mentioned working at the airport, so I guess that's aviation engineering, right? That's, sorry, 1 second. What did you say? Okay. I've sent it. Yeah. Engineering skills are very transferable. Very, very transferable. I'm not sure what exactly you did at the airport, but a gear is a gear, right? A pump is a pump. It's just that in different places it's pumping different things, but thermodynamics, for example, is the same thing across. So don't be scared that what you have done is not related to the oil and gas industry. As long as you are building skills in engineering, they can be transferred. And remember that you might not even be doing exactly what you have been doing in the past. Things change. I studied mechanical engineering. I started with supply chain. I want to move to business economics. The world is open. What you studied is not what will hold you back, right? So don't overthink it. But I would also say for your NYSC, there are two things: what you can control and what's outside of your control. What you can control is working on simple projects. It can be as simple as writing on LinkedIn. Please be active on LinkedIn, or at least active somewhere that people can see you. Because in the world that we live in, your competition is not just maybe the people you graduated with, it's people all around the world. Companies recruit globally now. So, as special as you might think you are, there's somebody out there that is 100 times more special than you. So, what you can do is to try to make yourself 10 times more special so that that other person is only 10 times more special than you, if you understand the math that I just did. And then if you do 10 times again, then you're just as special as that other person. Keep improving yourself, because opportunities come. Sorry, hold on. Opportunities come when you least expect them. So if you're not prepared for that opportunity, in fact, you won't even know that there's an opportunity, because it's automatically to not be for you. The people that can present the opportunity to you will know that you're not prepared. For somebody that has not, you finish school. For somebody that has not done NYSC, for example, nobody's going to bring opportunities to you that require NYSC. So why not focus on the things that can be done in your time, right? And look for what you can do, because trust me, there's always something that you can do. I wasted my own NYSC year. One of the biggest regrets of my life. I wouldn't say playing, but I was not very structured in terms of what I wanted to accomplish. And I feel like I could have done a whole lot better. But also don't overthink it, right? Just make sure that every day, and this is the mantra that I live with, every day you do something that brings you closer to the future that you want. I call it investment in your life bank, life currency, or your life equity. You're adding to your life equity every day. You're investing, and that investment will compound. So read a book, learn. I wish I can tell people or make people understand this. The things that people focus on are not the most important things. The most important things are how you relate with people. To be honest, I don't know how to make this even clearer. Your work, you can be the hardest worker, but if people think you're boring, you're not fun to work with, you're a dead guy, you're you don't have leadership skills, you don't know how to communicate, you won't go far in your career. So try to build the ability, and this is something I learned late, your networking ability, your soft skills. Remember, technical skills are the foundation. Soft skills make you grow. I know that the answer sound or the response sounds kind of vague, but that's really what it is, to be honest. I don't know if that answered your question, but you just have to look out for companies, basically. Cold email, message them on LinkedIn. Just be very aggressive about what you want to do. Next person is Adelodu. This is Daniel. Daniel, is that you?
Yeah, this is Daniel.
Yeah.
Hi, Sonia.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. So, oh, sorry. Good morning, everyone. I'm Daniel. I'm I really recent? But I'm a graduate, kind of. Yeah, I have like a couple of experiences in auditing. So my plans for 2026, like you asked, is to be more out there, be more present, and increase my chances. That's by being extra active on LinkedIn, push myself out there through TikTok and stuff. And my other plans for also 2026 is possibly transition or move into a bigger company for a better exposure. I think that's so far professionally, that's my vision board. My vision board for 2026.
That's really good. And as much as we're saying it's for 2026, the truth is, if you plan for too long, if you plan for too long, like if you say you want to keep a streak for the whole year, it might be difficult. It's better to say for the first 3 months of the year, this is what I want to do, or this is what I want to accomplish. 3 months is enough time that you can make a good impact, but also it's short enough that if you fail or if you don't achieve exactly what you want to achieve, you can reset for the next 3 months. So I wanted to mention that for me, 2026, what I want to do is write a book. Like that's my own, or at least one of my major goals. I want to write a book, and maybe you guys can even tell me the kind of things you'd like to see. Like, obviously, within this space, right? I want to write a book because I saw something somewhere that the word authority has the word author in it. So if you want to be an authority in a space, it's very, very advisable to be an author, right? So I want to do that as my own general 2026 plan, but I want to make significant progress in the first 3 months, right? So that's just something I wanted to mention. So Daniel, if you want to move companies, reach out to people on LinkedIn. I don't think you need to wait for applications, to be honest. Reach out to people on LinkedIn, build your connections. And funny enough, don't build the connections with the intention that you want to move. Build the connections with the intention that you want to give this person some value. What can you add to their lives? Even if it's an interesting conversation that shifts their mind, just make them feel happy to know you. And from there, they would want to give you some form of opportunity, right? That's how I see it. That's how I've been approaching it. And it has been working for me. The people that I call mentors now are people that I just check up on. Hi, how are you doing? There's one person that is now, he's like my close friend now, I guess. He reaches out to me to say, oh, how are you doing? I hope you're having fun. Merry Christmas. Tells me about how he's with his mom. He's not from Nigeria. He's with his mom. His family is like, that's a mentor. And then when it comes time for work, because of that good feeling and relationship he has with me, it's very easy to recommend, oh, Sona is the person that I think is good for this space. Simply because he feels like if I'm in that space or if I'm working in his team or anybody's team, I'm good vibes. He hasn't even seen me working. He hasn't seen me working. He just believes that I'm good vibes. The business economy space that I want to get into, I've had conversations with the hiring manager, and he told me that he doesn't even want somebody that has the experience. He just needs somebody that is good vibes. That's his that's the secret to life. Being good vibes. I don't know. It's not courses, projects, volunteering, all the things that we talk about are the technical, no, not technical. Yeah, they're the technical skills. The projects, those are technical skills. Soft skills, good vibes. Really, that's the secret. So I'm telling you guys early. I learned it late. I'm just learning it now. I was always on my own by myself, but now I'm trying to put myself out there, right? Next person is Ibrahim. I'm not sure if this thing is in order. Or, sorry if you put your hand up before Ibrahim, but I'm following it the way it is. Temi Lolua.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, that's me. Good morning. Good morning.
Hi, good morning.
Thank you very much, Mr. Soda, for putting this out. I think the first time I came across your page, I felt so lucky because I've been looking for somebody that does this. And yeah, so my goal for 2026 is I've always wanted to do work in an oil and gas company, but I'm a recent graduate as well. I finished my NYSC June because I knew that oil and gas companies most times don't hire NYSC, so I decided to wait till I finished. Plus, I wanted to clock a year at my NYC, that's my PPA. So yeah. So my goal for 2026 is to start applying for to major top companies, oil and gas companies. And I did sales in this my 1 year. And I want to ask more of a question, right? So the question I wanted to ask was that the sales I currently do is a B2B. I sell construction materials. And I don't know if it's the same thing as if that's the way it works at the oil and gas companies. Sorry. So I don't know if that's the way it works because there's like it's target based, right? And I'm trying to pivot away from sales, but anytime I check my likes and dislikes is moving towards sales. But yeah, my question was just to ask more of how does sales or business development, because that's what I currently do, is in the oil and gas company. I don't know if
Okay. Yeah,
you understand
I understand.
my
Let me
question.
let me show you something.
Thank you.
So when people think about what's wrong with my screen? Anyway, when people think about the oil and gas industry, they look at upstream mostly, but they're forgetting that there's midstream and downstream. And you can see downstream is refining and marketing. What you're talking about here is marketing, if I'm correct. And all of these things here, this is diesel, there's lubricants, all of that. They're also part of the oil and gas industry sales. If you look at here, so gas to market, what that means is the industrial gas. So, for example, NLNG sells gas to the market as cooking gas. They sell cooking gas because if you look through their process, they liquefy natural gas, but in that process, the gas that comes from production also contains other things. The liquefied natural gas is methane. There's butane, ethane, and other gases. So they sell that off. That sales in the local market. Also, NLNG sells to the international market. That's here now. They sell. So this is the sales to the international market. That's also sales, right? So I'm telling you this to make you understand that no matter what you're doing, in fact, sales is the most important thing in any industry, because if money is not coming in, then the industry doesn't exist. So I want to tell you that your skills are not wasted at all. If anything, if you're interested in the oil and gas industry, what you can do, and this is a secret I'm giving you, is to decide that you want to become a sales expert for oil and gas. In fact, I'll recommend gas. So position yourself, and this can now be in your IDP. I don't know if you've heard me talking about IDP, but this can be in your IDP that you want to become a sales expert for gas. So that's where you need to start looking at, for you to be the NFDPRA, how their operations work, how they regulate the markets, things that are going on there, because there is a heavy push for increased gas production. Gas is the transition fuel. Improved gas production. You can look at the local markets and say, I want to be a sales expert for. What did you study in school? Temi?
Economics.
Right. So you want to be a gas sales expert. That is one path. You don't have to take it, but it's an example. Because niching down, all of you are here because you want to hear about the oil and gas industry. But the truth is, everything that I say is applicable to any industry. That's the truth. But because I have chosen a space where I can tell my own story, or I can specialize in, more people know that if they come here, this is what they will get. So if you niche down and say you want to be a gas sales expert, and maybe a gas sales expert in the local markets or international markets, and then you start to explore, remember the let me show you again. Remember the thing about the questions. When you decide to be a gas sales expert, automatically you start asking questions. What do I need to know? Who are the people that have the answers? And at that point, you start realizing more unknowns. And it goes round like that. So gas expert is one example. That's why I always say understand the value chain of the industry. This is the value chain. This is the value chain. Under the value chain, there will be support services. So, like you mentioned, sales, there's IT, there's finance, there's legal, right? But this is the value chain. So I've given you places where you can come into. You can see there's oil trading here. That's sales, spot sales or long-term commitments. These are so. You see, I'm saying all these things because at least I have some idea. So as I'm telling you now, each thing I mention, you should note it down and go and learn more. That's the only way you'll be able to be. And this goes for everybody. Look for a space. Whatever you're doing. In fact, if you're an accountant, just add oil and gas in front of it and say you're an oil and gas accountant. And then what does that mean? That generates the questions that you will ask, that will direct you to the people that will answer them, or the articles or the YouTube videos that will answer your questions, that will lead you to a new understanding of the things you don't know, that will make you have even more questions. So I hope that makes sense to you guys. The next person is Samuel.
Okay, yeah. Good morning, Sona.
Hi, good morning.
Yeah, this is for me. I want to major in the oil and gas. I just recently concluded my NYC in April, and I've made a lot of progress. I've been able to get a certification in ISPON, Institute of Safety Professional of Nigeria. And currently, I'm doing my NEBOSH IGC. And I did my PPA actually in a mineral processing company. And after my NYC, I was able to get a trainee opportunity in a geotechnical company. That's where I am at the moment. So I'm looking for, I don't know how to really go about entering the HSC in the oil and gas. So I don't know if you could put me through.
HSC. I'm not a HSC professional, but what I would say is that just keep up on the path that you're on. From everything you've mentioned, you are progressing from one step to another. So keep up on the path that you are on. And there's no special shortcut apart from what I've told you guys already about the questions and meeting people. But the shortcut is the long road, because the long road is the only road. So automatically it's the shortest route. And everybody's road is different. So there are two ways to get into the oil and gas industry. Either as, and I'm talking specifically as into an IOC, entry level graduate trainee, or experienced hire. There are only two ways. And usually the graduate trainee route is for people that are fresh out of school, no matter what age, I guess, 22 to, as long as you're doing your NYC, 22 to, let's say, 30. So you have if we use that range, an 8-year space to be considered as entry level. And then after that, you'd come in as, if you're going to come in, you'd come in as experienced higher. So what that means is you have an 8-year window, give or take, to enter as entry level. And then the only other way would be experienced hire. experienced hire, meaning you need experience. The experience has to come from somewhere that is obviously not graduate recruitment. So you need to take up as much as you can, even though you don't know where it will lead you to. Me, for example, my first job was in a supply chain company. It was a small company. My salary was 60K at the time. And then because we were working remotely most of the time, they would give me 10K for internet that month. I was happy. In fact, the guy that offered me the job, he was almost laughing because he was saying that he knows that what he's paying me is small because it's money that he can even go to the club and spend in one night, right? But two things: that obviously the experience that I'll gain is invaluable, and also because of the way the company works, there can be a form of profit sharing agreement. They never shared any profits, Misha, but that was the idea, and I learned a whole lot, and that experience was instrumental in getting me to where I am. So, in hindsight, that was one of the best things I could have done. But at the time, it looked like, what kind of job is this? Why am I making only 60K? But today, I would say that that's the best thing that could have happened to me in my life. So any opportunity you see now, please don't look down on it. Because as long as it's giving you experience, as long as you are developing, you will be better off for doing that thing than sitting down and waiting. Sitting down and waiting is the worst thing you can do, because each second that passes is a second you can never get back. It's a second you made a choice to. So each day of your future will be determined by the choices that you are making today, now. So each second that you make a choice, you have designed a future. And that future will not change. It can be adjusted based on future choices, but the choice that you made in the past has adjusted the future in a way that you can never change. I don't know if this makes sense to you guys. So every day that you're doing something, make sure you do, like if you're doing your HSC courses, keep doing them. If you finish one, do the next one. And beyond courses, make sure you're working on projects. There's something I've been thinking about doing, talking about CVs and how to make your CV stand out. I've moved from having a 3 or 4 page CV to now having just a 1-page CV, even though I have more experience. And the way to do that is you take everything that you have done, you filter out the most impactful things, singular impactful things, and that becomes your CV. And so anybody that sees that singular impactful thing will want to have a conversation with you. Now, the thing is, if you don't have a singular impactful thing, it means that you need to shift how you're thinking about life, how you're approaching opportunities. You need to assess your opportunities and say, okay, if I go into this, how will I come out of it with a singular impactful thing? If you're going to work every day and nothing is coming out, like me, for example, now in the office, I want to build an AI agent that will help answer supply chain questions that are peculiar to Nigeria's environment. Because a global company, it's a global company, and there is already an AI agent that helps supply chain globally. But you can't ask it about NOIMS, NNPC, NCDMB, our local content regulations. You can't ask it all of that. So I want to build one that you can ask that. So on my CV, during my work experience, if I complete that project, all I have to do is say I built an AI agent that does this. That's all. It is impactful, even though there will be a number of things that go into it. That is a singular impactful thing. Another thing that I did was, this year, I developed the managed supply chain strategy for the supply chain team that helps to integrate the asset management requirements with supply chain's object. Like, that is what I did. So it helps to support integration with the assets' long-term goals. That is a singular thing. Even though a number of things went into it, like I had to hold a workshop, I had to reach out to stakeholders, I had to do things. But those things are not as relevant or as impactful as the outcome. So always look for outcomes of what you want to, like, each time you go into an opportunity, look for outcomes so that the next time an opportunity comes or you're asked the question, if you deserve that opportunity, you can say, okay, the last time I did this. This is what I did. I delivered this. So that's something to think about. I hope that helps in a general sense. Nifemi.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Sona.
Hi, good morning.
So my goal for 2026 is to be more active on LinkedIn. So currently, I'm about to finish my NYSC. I'm finishing in March. I work, my PPA is an automobile company. So we do vehicle assemblies, maintenance, and also sales. So in my time there, I'll say the skill that I've been able to gain, which I also now have certification is 3D modeling, SolidWorks, design of engine parts, and the likes. So I just, because I'm new, I've never used LinkedIn before. So I wanted to ask if you had any tips that I could use to push my skills and the kind of person I am to help me get opportunities.
Okay. So you need to have, it's called, at least for content creation generally, it's called content pillars. You need to have content pillars that are the groups of things that you want to talk about. So me, for example, recently I've added industry commentary to my content pillars. So that's why you see that I'm talking about Seplat now. I'm talking about, I want to make a video about Airs Energy. I talked about Shell's HI project. I mentioned a couple of things. That's industry commentary. Then I also want to talk about I've been talking about how young professionals can position themselves in the industry. That's another pillar. I also share general experiences or things that I'm thinking about. So like the video I made about this question people and willingness to go into the unknown. It's something I read in a book and I wanted to share with people. So these are different things that I've not really been talking about work that I have been doing. And that's something that I think I should even add on LinkedIn specifically in terms of my own 9-to-5 work. So for you, you can talk about things that you've accomplished in your 9-to-5. You can talk about things that interest you in whatever industry you want to go into. That becomes industry commentary. You can talk about projects that you're working on, maybe courses that you're doing, or like you mentioned, the 3D modeling. You can talk about 3D modeling. These will become your content pillars. So you can build out a plan. Full disclaimer, I don't have a structured plan like that. I work based on vibes, but I have a general idea of what I want to do. And that helps me keep it more fun for myself. But I don't know how you like to do. Some people like more structure. So you can add structure to this. But please try to make it fun for yourself. Because if it's not fun, you burn out. This stuff that I'm talking to you guys here is fun for me. I'm considering at some point to even make this thing weekly. It's very fun for me. Making the videos, it's very fun for me. I like art. So I like the art of it. Right? I like making the nice setup and having the lights and tinkering with at least now you guys can see I'm doing the iPad sharing stuff. It's fun for me. That's fun for me. So it doesn't feel like work. So if you want to be active on LinkedIn, try to make it fun for yourself. If you can turn it into a game or something, or make it fun for yourself. If not, you stop doing it. That's what you choose. especially because the reward will not come immediately. It's not like a job. People do jobs they don't like because at least at the end of the month they'll pay you. You are sure. You know when the outcome will come. But for things that you have no idea when the result will come, you have to make it fun. If not, you're going to stop. Because what if you post on LinkedIn now for 2 years or 3 years, nothing happens? Well, what happens at that point? Because I can guarantee you that if you keep posting, good things will happen. But nobody knows the timeline. So how long will you keep it up without any benefits or any apparent benefits? So make it fun for yourself. That's what I'll say. Japheth.
Hello, good afternoon, Mr. Sona.
Hi, good afternoon.
Can you hear me?
Yes, please.
Okay. So I studied geography and environmental management. So my goals for the next year is to continue what I've been doing. So like this year, I started a company, like a geospatial company based on GIS. So I'll be making tutorials on YouTube, posting on social media, TikTok, Facebook, and all that. So actually, why I'm here is I found you on TikTok via a post on the graduate trainee, yes, and all that. So I saw the link to you posted the link to this meeting. So I just wanted to join and then hear your insights. Also, I wrote the what's it called, the test actually. So I just wanted to get your insights
As
on
an
how you
LNG.
passed. Maybe yes.
Okay.
So I wanted to get your insights, maybe your thought process, what you are thinking, maybe when you are doing the test, because I heard that there's also an assessment center. Yeah. So I also just wanted to understand how everything works actually here.
Okay. I'm honestly very excited to hear that you started a company, to be honest. In the first video I made about oil and gas, that was like my pivot into oil and gas content. I've made a comment that not everybody has to be an employee to work or to gain some value in the industry. So I'm glad to hear that you also want to start your company and be a service provider and help people in that way. The truth is that the upside on that side of the spectrum is much higher, right? It's much higher. The risk is higher. Well, at this point, even in 9 to 5, even employment is risky because companies are downsizing, AI is coming. So it's not as if having a job is even safe anymore. But yeah. For the NLNG thing, for the first test, there isn't much advice to give for the first test, to be honest, and I guess it has passed now. I'm sure you've also written your own. Some people said that they got a mail that it's to come in January, that they'll do their own in January. I don't know, but anyway.
Okay. I don't know.
Have you done your own?
Yes, I have.
So for the first test is what it is. You just have to do it. If you pass, you pass. You practice a bit and then you do it. If you pass, you pass. That's what it is. For the assessment center, it is, at least it was in person, and they'll group you into 3. Sorry, there are 3 different exercises, not 2. The first one is a group exercise. The second one is a case study you have to read, and then they'll ask you questions. The third one is also a case study, but you have to make a presentation. That's what it is. There's no interview per se that they'll give you an opportunity to say what you want to say. Because I had stuff I wanted to say at the time, but there was no opportunity for that. At the end of the day, it will just be, if you pass the assessment center, they'll give you an offer. If you're interested in it, you take it. If you're not, you decline. That's what it is. I understand that this period might be full of anxiety because you're not sure what's going to happen next. But the truth is, you just have to wait it out. You feel the anxiety, and that's all you can do. And focus on other things. If they send you an email that you pass to the assessment center, that's fine. If they don't, that's also fine. there are other opportunities. NLNG is not the only company, right? So that's what I have to say. It's it's not very deep. Oh. It's not very deep. And maybe because I'm on the other side, I can now tell you that it's not very deep. But the truth is, when you get to a certain point, you realize that the thing that you thought is what you want to achieve. When you get there, you realize that it might even just be the lowest level of what is out there for you to achieve, and then you start to become desensitized to to things, right? So, and honestly, I felt like this even before I got to any point. I've always felt that I will achieve greatness. I wasn't sure how I was going to achieve the greatness, but I knew that I was going to achieve greatness. I don't think I've achieved any form of greatness now. So let me not make you think that I feel like I've accomplished something now. So what I'm trying to tell you is do your best, because you have only one life, right? Do your best in whatever it is that you are doing and be happy with where you are. I think that's the most important thing. Be happy with where you are while trying to push for the next thing. Like I said, I'm really happy that you're building your own company, because that is something that you can control. Making videos, teaching people things is something you can control. You can't control whether NLNG will hire you, because there are so many things that influence it. That Chevron did a recruitment recently. They gave people offers, I guess, and those people have still not started. It's at least more than 6 months now, if not more. If it's not up to a year, I don't know, but those people have not started. So they cannot force the company to hire them. I heard that the recruitment that Total is doing, they've put it on pause. You can't control those things. It's not even about you. If you're an engineer and you apply for a role, graduate trainee, and the company is not hiring for graduate trainee at the time, you will not get a job. For me, I got supply chain because at the time supply chain was hiring. That was 2022. 2023, they hired again for supply chain. 2024, they did not hire for supply chain. 2025, they did not. 2026, they will not. So if somebody is applying for supply chain in 2024, 5, and 6, if you like, study in Harvard and apply for the job here, you will not get a job. So I'm just trying to tell you that it's not really as deep as if you don't get something, it's not really about you, right? So focus on the things that you can focus on and let God and let life happen the way it's supposed to happen. Just ensure you're having fun, right? That's what I'll say. I hope that helps.
All right. Yeah. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Bolaji.
Yeah, good day, Sona. Thank you so much. You have shared a lot of value. Yeah. It seems like me, I always like listening to you like anytime you speak. So in terms of plans for 2026, I will also still be messaging you. Yeah. I want to share some things. But like in terms of plans for 2026, I don't know if you can hear me well.
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. So in terms of plans for 2026, like for me, I've built the skills already, I've built like the knowledge already, and I'm done with NYC. So like the main goal is just like landing a full-time role, like with one of these oil and gas firm. And currently I'm working like in a top company. So but like my question for you now is, I noticed something about these recruitment links that when it comes out, like it's coming out like very late. Like I feel like people are seeing it late, like than like the main time this recruitment links is coming out, because of like this also happens like in the firm where I work for. Like I work with one of the big fours, but like when the link comes out, like almost like our staff have maybe received it like earlier than even sometimes coming out for outsiders maybe after the recruitment process has been done. So I just wanted to ask you, like, is there maybe any tip for any of these oil and gas that you feel like someone can get these links like way more faster? Because that's the first question I want to ask you.
So it depends on.
So what do you feel?
Yeah, there are a number of factors that go into that. So, for example, I would, and I'm sure about this for experienced hire. The company will look within for people, because when you hire somebody, you're hiring not just their technical skills, but their soft skills, obviously, their work culture. So you prefer somebody that has been in your system, and at least you know that the culture and general soft skills are taken care of in terms of experience with the current culture. And then if you don't find somebody internally, then you do an external recruitment. For entry level, I would say that rather than it coming out late, I think it comes out for a short period of time. That's what I would say. I don't know how it is for your own company, but it comes out for a short period of time because they get thousands of applications, thousands and thousands. Like I'm sure they would wish that they can put it out for only one day, but that also doesn't make sense because they get thousands of requests from people, and a lot of people are not qualified. Like, if you get 50,000 applications, I can promise you that 45,000 of them they are not what you want to see. Right? They're not what you want to see. So imagine having to go through all of that. Yes, they use AI to do it, but the AI still costs money. You pay consultants. It's not, the company doesn't own all of those resources. So they're still paying for the processing of all those applications. So the fewer applications they get, the better. I can tell you that. So in terms of getting it faster, you can put on job alerts on LinkedIn, because I know majority of these companies post on LinkedIn. Like that's the most important. That's the place that you see it. They also post. You can follow job blogs. There's my job mag. There's Jobberman. There are places where you can. So just getting to know about the news is very important, so you don't miss these things. Just set your alert. Even me, I have job alerts. Not that I'm looking to move or anything, but I have job alerts just to see what is out there, and also to share with you guys on the channel or wherever. I have job alerts on, and now I'm even putting on news alerts, just because if you don't go looking for something, you will not find it. In this world now, things are not looking. In fact, opportunities are running from people because there are too many people chasing them. So the opportunities will be running. So it's the people that are also running after the opportunities that will catch it. Imagine you're sitting down in the corner and the opportunity is running and passing you, and then people are chasing it. The opportunity will not stop for you. So that's what I have to say about that. It's not hidden. It's not hidden because it is illegal to hide these things. I can tell you that. Yes, they can do some form of influencing and connections, like people say. I don't even see connections as a bad thing, to be honest. I only see connections as a bad thing where you put somebody in a position that they are not qualified for. That is the only problem with that, because appointments is like, people get appointed. The ministers of the country, the commissioners, they get appointed by the president, by the governor. There's nothing wrong with that. It's legal. This is in the regulatory document. So connections as a thing is not a bad thing. It is when you put somebody that's not competent because they are your brother or something. That's when connection. So I don't even like when people use connections as a bad word. Oh, you need connections to get into this place. Why not be the person that deserves the connection? That's the right mindset. So be the person that deserves the connection. If you say people get jobs based on connections, if it's your turn, will they want to put you? Are you the person they will want to put? Is a good question. I know this is slightly deviating from what you said, but generally that's what I think about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who's
So, please, I still have another question.
okay?
Can I carry on?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, thank you so much for that answer. I think I would stick with the job alert that you mentioned. So in terms of the next question I wanted to ask you, thank God you even mentioned like connections. So in terms of connections and aside like making connections on like LinkedIn and likes, I think this was the question I asked during your first webinar you also organized. But I noticed like you attended a conference of recent,
Mm-hmm.
like at Ibadan, the other one, like you met like one of like their recruitment person there. But like so like in terms of this also applies like in other fields, like when you attend conferences, you meet people. So like in terms of oil and gas conferences, I just wanted to ask, so if someone now is including it like as part of his goals that he wants to attend oil and gas conferences, is there any particular one that you recommend that say, oh, attend this conference, like a lot of maybe top professionals, maybe in Lagos, that kind of thing. So
Okay.
any one of your that you can
There's
recommend?
nice, the SPE one. There's nice, there's Nappy. There is Energy. I think Energy is usually in Abuja. There was one that was focused on gas. There's one that was focused on gas. I can't remember the name. There's the NCDMB one that they do in Bielsa. There is I'm trying to remember. There are a couple conferences. So the thing about attending conferences is what are you trying to accomplish when you go there? So, for example, people go and try to meet people, and then you say you want to ask for a job or something. I think that's the wrong approach. You cannot go to a conference where, so it's just like a job application. If you go to a conference, if you apply for a job, there are 50,000 other people applying, so you won't stand out. So if you're going to a conference and you're meeting somebody, remember that they're meeting 100 other people. So if you are there to ask them for something, trust me, they don't care about you. They don't care about you. So if you find a way to, in fact, this is secrets. If you want to meet somebody in a conference, show interest in whatever it is that they are doing. Like they are there for something. So show interest in their own thing. And then take their contact and then build a connection with them. So that is a cold outreach. Cold is that there's no connection before that. So just like a cold email or a cold DM, this is a cold outreach. Your obligation or your objective is to make that outreach as warm as possible so that value only comes out from a warm connection. So your goal is to warm up a cold connection. So if you meet somebody at a conference, you are not there to ask them anything because you're a stranger. You're a stranger. So they are not interested in giving you anything. They might be nice. So some people are nice, right? And they want to help genuinely. But even at that, they want to help you because helping you will make them feel better. So it's not even about you. Their own goal is to help people. So if they help you, it's because they want to feel better. It's not about you. So what you can do is show interest in them. Show interest in them. Ask them why you here. What interests you about this industry or this conference? What people love to talk about their interests. At least I know I love to talk about my own. People love to talk about their interests. So if you engage them about it and then you tell them, oh, I'd love to hear more about what you do. Like me, for example, that's the lady that I met, the recruiter that I met. I was genuinely interested in what she was doing. And I asked her a lot of questions. And then eventually I showed her my own TikTok and like everything that I'm doing. So we share that connection in terms of we're trying to help young professionals. So that's another thing. What are you like? What is your own thing that you are doing that will be interesting to somebody else, so that you connect on that shared passion? It mustn't be a shared passion, but a shared feeling of passion for something. So when you ask the person, oh, what are you interested in? They say, oh, I'm the GM of something in Total, or I'm this in this place. And then I'm here because I want to promote our new technology that we just came up with, blah, 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 blah. And you say, oh, that's interesting. I, on the other hand, am here because I'm here to, for example, me now, connect with young professionals. I help young professionals position themselves to be successful in the oil and gas industry. I have done this, and this. I have 5,000 followers on TikTok. I have so, and so. I do this. I hold bi-weekly connects. That's my own thing. I now go back to their own thing. I'd love to hear more about this new technology that you guys are doing, and I'd love to stay in touch. Can I get your number? So you're not asking him, please, I would like you to give me a job in the future. You're saying you'd like to hear more about his thing. And then when you follow up and say, hello, just checking in to see how you are doing. I really had a nice time hearing about your work that you're doing. Probably you'd have done some research on what the person talked about, and you say, I checked this out and I'd really love to ask you this question. They will see that you've invested some time to check out their thing. That's when they start liking you. That's when eventually, maybe if they're on your WhatsApp and you post something, they will send a laughing emoji or they will relate with it, and then you build that connection. Then when you guys are talking again later, you say, I have been searching for a job, blah, blah, blah. And then the person will say, why didn't you tell me since? Don't mind them. Don't mind them. That was not the time to tell them. It's now that is the time to tell them. So you tell them, this is what I need. And they'll say, okay, fine, I'll call somebody. That's how connections work. That's how you build a connection. It's not an immediate thing. So that's how it works. You build it before you need it. I hope that helps. Okay. Next person.
Yes, thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome. Next person is Khalid. You guys, I'm not feeling well. I'm sick, but I just said I have to be here. Khalid.
Hi.
Sorry, you can feel.
Yeah, hi, I can hear you.
So basically, I'm still in school. I'm a student. I'm a computer engineering student here. So, and I've been looking at the industry. I've been seeing your content and how lucrative the industry is and things like that. So I was wondering, what technological skills right now are very, very relevant in the tech space? Because there are a lot of tech skills. Like there's data engineering, there's cloud computing, there are a lot. But I don't know the ones that are of particular relevance to the oil and gas sector, so that I might know what I want to learn, moving forward.
Okay. There are, if you don't want to get too involved in the technicalities of it, because there are softwares that help to, like, for example, control production. There are softwares that help with project management. If you want to do supply chain management, for example, so procurement management, lead time analysis, and all of that. But I can't be the one to tell you what you'll be interested in, because no matter what you are learning, you need to have some domain knowledge. For example, if you're a data analyst, if you're a data analyst in the health industry, you need to have some understanding of what goes on in health to help you focus into the data, like understand the data and be able to drill down and all of that. So you would need to answer your question by yourself. But if we look at this now, if we look at this, this is the value chain of the industry. If you look at it and look through, there is a progression from here to here. For gas, it goes this way and down to the market. For oil, it goes this way and around like that. So you need to ask yourself, what sort of, because this right here is all of what goes on in the industry. That's what, like, this is, you cannot create a space for yourself. This is what goes on in the industry. So you ask yourself, where would I be interested in? What would I like to know about first? Would I like to learn about gas processing or LNG liquefaction? And then if you look at LNG liquefaction, okay, what are the things that they do with IT in that space? So you'll be learning about the LNG liquefaction and then the applications. If you remember what I told, I can't remember her name now, but the first person that asked the question, if you want to become, you become a computer engineer that specializes in gas processing software, LNG liquefaction, right? And her name was Timmy, if I'm correct. You look for where you'd be interested in learning. So if you want to do downstream, you mentioned lucrative space, so I guess you're thinking about a whole lot of money. In Nigeria, it's the upstream industry that is quite lucrative, right? So you can look for something here and decide that that's what you want to focus on. But you need to learn about the value chain first. That's why I said it's good to read the PIA. The PIA is complicated. Not complicated, but for somebody that is not... Gen Z people don't like to read long things. That thing is 256 pages, right? But I'm reading it and I plan to finish it. But I also want to summarize it. I'll probably do like a video series just to talk about the major things. But when you
What did you
start
call it? The P?
Petroleum Industry Act, Petroleum Industry Act 2021. So you can search that. Once you search it on Google, it comes out first, the document. So you can check that out. And so read it, or you can even just ask ChatGPT for a summary. But me, I prefer to read as much as possible. All right. That gives
I
you...
wanted to
Yeah, go ahead.
something else.
Okay, go ahead.
You were saying something.
No. That I was just going to say that gives you an idea of where you can now start
of where to-
focusing. Yeah.
Okay, so as someone still in school right now, what do you think I should be doing proper? Focusing. I did a couple internships here and there in some tech companies, but University of Lagos, so it's they are very, very funny over there sometimes. So I don't know, what do you think I should be doing as regards or trying to get to work, in oil and gas or somewhere else lucrative?
First of all, finish with the very best grades that you can. If you can finish with a 5.0 CGPA, then go ahead and do that. Because if you remember, I mentioned earlier, your CV should be a compilation of the most impactful things that you have done. So if your schoolwork is one of the most impactful things that you have done, that's a plus. So focus on doing your very best in school and whatever else it is that you are doing. Excellence is non-negotiable. It's the foundation. Like, you just have to do good work first before any other thing even matters. Beyond that, like I said, look at things if you're interested in the oil and gas industry or energy industry, or you need to find some domain knowledge. You cannot just be broad. You need to specialize, not deep specialization, but you need to look for a space where you want to. And it doesn't mean that you stick to that space for the rest of your life, but you just need to find a space that is your space. And that is so. Let me show you guys something. If there's a graph like this, and you have something like this, a curve like this, from here to here is 90% of people, and here to here is 10% of people. This line here, this space, most people in an industry or in a space will, let's say these are benefits. This is benefits. So most people, you guys should pay attention to this. Most people are in the 90% space, so they will not reap as much benefits because they are not special in any space. They are just, and the larger you increase the space. So if you have circles like this, if you're in this first circle, it is more likely that you will be in the 90% of people in that circle. So it will be difficult to be in the 10% and reap the benefits. If you're in this circle, your chances are higher to reap the benefits and be in the 10% of people that will be special or that will be recognized. If you go even deeper, you start to, because if you niche down, I'll give you an example. I started with talking about my video is lagging, sorry. I started with talking about productivity, right? And when I was doing that, I was in this circle. Oh wait, I've not been sharing my screen. I'm sorry, I've been drawing something for you guys. And why didn't anybody tell me? But anyway. Anyway, so this is the 90% I was talking about. This is the 10%. This is the benefit. This is the graph, right? So 90% of people are in 90% of people are in a space where they won't reap as much benefits until they get into the top 10% of an industry, of a space, of a niche, right? And let's say these circles are the niches. So these circles now are the niches. If you're in this first circle, it's more likely that you are in 90% of people that will reap the least benefits in that space. If you go deeper into this circle, you're more likely to be in that 90%. If you go to the smallest circle, and you can even go deeper than that, you are more likely to be in the 10% of people that can reap the highest benefits. So that's why I told you to specialize. So if you are a specialist in computer science and LNG liquefaction, you'll be very special and sought after. So if you build your skill there, for example, you'll be very special. If you specialize in exploration or development, like the other speaker that's building his own company, I think, is it Japheth? I'm not sure. But yeah, development, for example, you will be recognized in that space as somebody that is standing out. As a software engineer that specializes there, it's easier to now build and become closer to the 10%. Right. So that's why if you say, unfortunately, I cannot tell you that there's one special place that you need to go to. The industry is very wide. Right. The industry is very wide. I chose my own space at least in two ways. I want to go into economics. And then also, in terms of my videos that I make, I move from productivity. And if I show you this, the productivity space was here. But I narrowed it down eventually to say, okay, fine, let me stop running from my own story and talk about the oil and gas industry. So that now brought me here. But then even beyond that, I said, okay, the oil and gas industry in Nigeria, I'm talking to young professionals. That brought me here. So there might be people that are giving career advice. And there are many people that are doing that. But how many people are giving career advice for oil and gas, for graduate trainees, or for young professionals in Nigeria? And then they also actually have the experience. Not many people. So automatically, I've brought myself from being in the 90% where everybody's talking about productivity, how to make sure you're drinking water while you're working or take breaks and all those generic stuff, to being in the 10% of people that have experience of oil and gas industry in Nigeria for young professionals. And all of a sudden, I'm able to make more sense to people, and the right people will come and find me. The right opportunities will come and find me. So I need you to really think deep. I can't answer. There's no magical answer that will tell you learn this and that's what will save your life. But if you apply this philosophy, you begin to understand what I'm saying.
All right. Okay. So finally, internships. They're they are hard to get and sometimes not available in some oil and gas industries. Why is that? And if I wanted to, how would I go about that?
They're not hard to get. You just don't know where they are. And I'll tell you why. If you have a 5% chance of sending like a cold email or an email to a company and you'd get a response and you get a job offer. If you send 10 emails, you have a 0.5, like you have a zero, you will get 0.5 offers. So that means you don't get up to 1. If you send 100 emails, you will get 5 offers. Do you understand what I'm saying? Does that make sense? Let me take it again. Let me take it again so that you understand. If there's a 5% chance that you will get an offer if you send an email, the odds mean that if you send 10 emails, you will get 0.5 offers. That means that you will not get 1 offer. If you send 100 emails, you will get 5. If you send 1,000 emails, you will get 50. What that means is you're probably just not looking hard enough. And that's the truth. Because life is a game of numbers. The more numbers you do, the only problem is that you don't know the percentage. So 5% is an example. You don't know if it's 1%. So that means if you send 100, you get only 1. You don't know if it's 0.1%. That means if you send 1,000, you get only 1. You don't know. What I'm trying to say is, it is not that they don't exist. It is that you've not looked hard enough for them. And remember that everybody's story is different. Some people will just stay and apply for 1 and get 1. And their own percentage is 100%. But that's how life works.
Yeah.
But in terms of, like, you can put on job alerts, like I mentioned before. You can put on job alerts and look for example, in the past 3 months, quite a number of, and also there are seasons for this thing. I know that schools also have different timings but there are seasons. Because, for example, a lot of internships start January, February. So at the end of the year, around October, November, December, in fact, September, October, November, companies put out, I don't know if NLNG put out one, but I think I saw something. I know Aradel put out internship.
I saw for Aradel, yeah.
There are a number of companies that will put out now because the cycle starts January, February. There's a season for it. So there is a time. There's a time, and I'm sure that there are other companies that also do, because it is part of their corporate social responsibility to train young people so that when you do an internship with them, eventually that experience you build on it and become a person that can be hired as graduate trainee or experience hire or something. So they gain from that development. So they want interns. They want interns. It's not even as if they're going to pay you much, if anything. So they have nothing to lose. So if you say the internships are not available, just means that you're not trying hard enough. And honestly, I know it's not easy to do the work, but like I said in the beginning, there's no shortcut. The shortcut is the long road. I think we are running out of time. There's one more hand. That'll be the last hand, please. Adetumbi.
Hi.
Hi.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Please confirm if you can hear me.
Yes, please.
Okay, so I don't know if we're still talking about plans for 2026 because I got off at
You
some
can
point.
you can talk about your plans. You can ask your question. Anything you want to do.
Actually, I have a question. I just have my plan. So
Okay.
essentially, I am a lawyer and finished my NYC in March this year. I currently work at a firm, a tier 1 law firm, but I'm in a department where I don't like it at all. I don't like the work. And I, through that department, had the opportunity to, sit at board meetings of oil and gas companies. In fact, I traveled to one of our clients' operational base, and I just figured out that this is something that I really, really want to do. So my plan for 2026 is to leave the firm to a smaller firm that I know does core energy transactions. So they only deal in oil and gas, power infrastructure, mining. So you get exposed to all the EPC contracts, all the JSPAs, and all of that. So my plan is to try to leave the firm that I am currently to that firm. And so what I've been doing is connecting with people that currently work in that firm. And fortunately, some of them left my firm to that place. So I've tried to reach out to them on LinkedIn just to see how they were able to transition, if they have advice for me, what I should prepare myself for. Because I'm post NYSC, but I don't think anybody should be considering me as experienced hire. I don't know jack shit, to be honest. So it's also an entry level role that I'm looking to get at that place. But yeah, that's my plan for 2026.
That's good. That's good. I have a question for you. What if you go there and you don't like it?
So I think it's more of I have decided what I want to do. So I want to be a consultant in future, and I want to be a legal consultant in the oil and gas space, energy in general, but mostly oil and gas. And then maybe my retirement plan will be sitting on boards in oil and gas companies. So all of this is a means to an end, not necessarily an end. So if I get there and I don't like the oil and gas bits, I think I'll switch. And I think I'm more of a transactional person than an advisory person. And that's what you do in oil and gas. More transaction for legal parts than not really an advisory person, to be honest. But yeah, but I think I'll like it. I think I would.
That's a good one. And I'm glad to hear that you're thinking long term in terms of what you want, and then you're also drilling it down into activities that you can do today or in the short to mid-term future. I actually wish you all the best. I hope it works out. Hope it works out for you. And yeah, I think rounding up now, I mentioned earlier my own 2026 goal is to write a book, right? And I don't know the easiest way for people to tell me. So if anyone here has something that they would like to see in a book that I write, maybe you can send me a DM on TikTok or Instagram, depending on where you found me. Actually, Instagram. Instagram. I don't like TikTok, but that is where a lot of people are coming from. So you guys can also check out my Instagram and follow me there. I prefer Instagram as a platform. So you can just send me a DM what question you like to have answered in the book. At least that's like your own contribution. And if you want, I can also even mention your name in the book if you like that. I don't know. But thank you guys so much for spending your morning/afternoon with me. I truly appreciate. I'm wishing you guys a happy new year in advance, a great 2026. I'm hoping that we'll all be here next year to continue these connects, and everybody would have good news to share over time, right? And you'll be much better next time than you were the previous meeting. Wishing you the best weekend. Enjoy the rest of this short holiday and take care. Bye, guys.